Hello, how are you? Responding to several requests, today I'm here to teach you how to prepare the famous kefir. If you don't know it, kefir is like a yogurt. It's one of the healthiest foods out there, one of the best foods for your immunity. I already have several videos here on the channel talking about kefir. In fact, I recently released one saying that it really is one of the best foods for immunity. And many people in the comments ask me to make kefir to see how I do it. So I'm going to show you my step-by-step process here. Stay with me until the end because you won't want to miss it. If you love recipes that are easy, quick, and affordable, you're going to love the channel, so go ahead and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell because I have new videos every day, not just recipes, but also various nutrition tips like kefir, for example, and you won't want to miss them. When you prepare your kefir, comment here in the video what the result was. Let's start making kefir. Many people comment asking me to make kefir from scratch, people who don't have the kefir grains and want to start from the beginning. You will never make kefir from scratch anywhere, because in reality, kefir is made from a colony, which I'll show you here, of a microorganism, a colony of microorganisms, of bacteria and yeasts that are beneficial for your health. It has many beneficial properties. I have an entire video talking about the benefits of kefir. In fact, I have another video about water kefir, which is a different type of kefir, but that's also here on the channel. There's a video explaining the difference between kefir and yogurt, and another video discussing the whole issue of kefir's impact on immunity, which is very strong and scientifically proven. But anyway, all these videos will be linked down below in the description. There's even a recipe with kefir. So let's start preparing our kefir, because I already have mine ready here. You know that I use kefir every day, and I always make kefir. So I've already brought mine here pre-prepared for you to see, because actually we need to strain it. You'll understand as we go along. Look, it was covered here. I'm going to take this off. Here in this jar, I have milk that I set aside earlier. This kefir of mine here has been fermenting for 12 hours. I'll explain what that means. And inside here, I have the kefir grains, the kefir colonies. So, to show you what they are, I'm going to strain it so you can understand better. I'll get a bowl here and grab a strainer. An interesting detail is that for kefir, it's actually very important that you use some kitchen equipment and utensils exclusively for it. This is to avoid any odors or any flavor. Imagine if you use something that's had onions on it and then use it for kefir. That's not good. Also, it helps minimize the risk of other bacteria proliferating. So ideally, you should have a strainer just for your kefir, a spoon just for your kefir. Set everything aside just for it, and it will be better that way. So here I have the kefir, which is already mixed. I'm going to strain it here, and you'll see what I mean. The liquid that passes through the strainer underneath is what we're going to drink. You can see that it's thicker. I'm not sure if you can tell, but it looks like one of those drinkable yogurts that come in a bottle. Let me show you here. I grabbed another plastic spoon so you can get a better look at the consistency. See? It's like a yogurt, but just a bit more watery. That's because it depends on how long you let your kefir ferment. This kefir that I just strained for you here is a 12-hour kefir. In other words, after I started the kefir process, which I'm about to show you now, I waited 12 hours before straining it. So it's a less curdled kefir, let's say, because the bacteria had less time to consume the lactose and form this mixture here. So now I'm going to set down this strainer with the kefir, wash this container, which is where I make kefir every day, and I'll be right back with it clean, so I can start from scratch and show you how I got to this point. So, look, I'm back here with my kefir jar, already clean, to start from scratch for you, to show how I got to this kefir here, which I just strained for you. I'll set it down here. So in my jar, I have the kefir grains, which were inside here, producing this liquid. Let me show you. It drips a little. So as you can see on camera, it really looks quite a lot like cauliflower, and it also resembles cottage cheese. But this isn't actually a vegetable at all. As I mentioned before, these are in fact yeasts and beneficial bacteria, which have the unique property of fermenting our milk. And what's the ideal milk? I'll tell you here. A good quality cow's milk. The kefir I make is milk kefir, made from cow's milk. I'm going to add the milk here now to mix everything together. There's really no point in making milk kefir with almond milk, coconut milk, or plant-based milk because it feeds on lactose. For those kefirs that aren't dairy-based, you'll need to use water kefir. I have a video talking about water kefir. So here, the kefir has been mixed into the milk, and you'll already notice here, I actually think it's interesting to show you this, the difference in consistency. Because here there's only the milk, which I just added, and the kefir. So we're going to cover it here. Usually I put a cloth like this and I place the lid on loosely. just like this so it doesn't fly off. And now we wait. From here, we have to wait at least 12 hours before doing that straining process I just showed you. After we strain it, after 12 hours, I'll show you here. This here is the milk, simply very liquid. And this is the finished kefir. As you can see, it's thicker, right? The longer the kefir stays in here fermenting, the thicker it will get over time. This is because, as it continues to ferment, the beneficial bacteria and yeasts present in the kefir grains work to break down the milk sugars, which causes the milk to thicken even more as the process goes on. So, I even made another batch of kefir here, fermented for 48 hours, to show you the difference because it will consume more lactose and change. Some interesting details to tell you. I'll leave this here because now there's nothing else we need to do with it. We just keep it closed here. I'm going to put it in my cupboard. I like to always keep it in my cupboard, closed, in the dark, because then there's no risk of leaving it on the counter where someone might bump into it, knock it over, get it wet, or anything like that. I leave it there, undisturbed. If I'm going to leave it for more than 12 hours, I like to just go check on it after 12 hours and give it a stir with a spoon so it settles down. Every now and then I go over and give it a stir, just to make sure it will be able to consume all the milk. Because sometimes it starts to get thicker only on the top, while the bottom stays very liquid. So, you can mix it or not, that's just something I do. If you don't have time, or if you're going out and will only come back later and then go to sleep, after 12 hours, it's not necessary. But if it's going to be left for a long time, I think it's worth it. So, I'm going to show you another kefir here, which I've already mentioned to you, which is the kefir I've had here for 48 hours. After I strain it, I usually put it in a cup like this one, which has a lid, because I can seal it well here and store it in the fridge. This part here, where it is fermenting, this part is done at room temperature, inside a cupboard, on your kitchen counter, or anywhere you prefer. After you strain it and it looks like this, I usually put it in this cup here, which happens to be in use because I made another 48-hour batch. So I pour it in, put the lid on, and then it goes into the fridge. After you strain it, you no longer have the good bacteria producing kefir, and if you leave it at room temperature, it will spoil. So you strain it and store it in the fridge to consume as you go. Now I'll show you the difference between the 12-hour and the 48-hour batch. Look how the 48-hour one gets thicker. Take a look at this. It looks much more like yogurt, see? Really thick. And once again, here's the 12-hour one. See, it's thicker than milk, but it's not like that watery milk because milk is very watery. So, I'll show you up close. Come here with me so you can see. So here are a few more interesting details for you to know. You can start straining your kefir after 12 hours. Normally I do it after 24, but you can also do it after 48 and at most 72 hours. Don't forget your kefir there because the culture will die. It needs that milk, that lactose, and after many hours, there's no more lactose left for it to consume. So it ends up dying and your kefir grains get ruined. So ideally you should stick to the time frames I mentioned. Remember that kefir fermented for a shorter time, like 12 or 24 hours, are milder in terms of taste and flavor compared to those fermented for 48 or 72 hours. Because the longer it ferments, the more acidic it naturally becomes, precisely because it consumes more lactose. So on the other hand, the longer you let it ferment, the less carbohydrate and lactose it will have. If that's a concern for you, if you're on a low-carb diet, or if you're lactose intolerant, a longer fermentation time will be better for you. If that's not an issue, the truth is that 24 hours is a good middle ground for making your kefir on a daily basis, and the flavor will be milder. It's even good to drink plain, without any sweetener, without anything, no fruit, nothing. It tastes really good because it actually resembles yogurt. Another important detail is that depending on whether you live in a very hot city and it's summer, it might ferment and be ready much faster than in winter or in a colder city. So if you live in a place with a milder climate, it might take longer for it to reach the consistencies I showed. And if you're making it in the summer, it might be that after 72 hours, your kefir could even spoil, turning all yellow on top with a strange appearance, and you won't want to consume it. In that case, you should remove that top layer, throw it away, discard that batch of milk, and make a new one so you don't lose your colony, because that's something we never want to happen. Each time you strain it with this sieve here, you'll notice that, not every time, but each week, the amount of grains increases. So when it increases significantly, remember that you can always share and make someone close to you happy with a kefir colony. When you receive it for the first time, you actually won't get an amount like mine. You'll usually receive about a tablespoon. So usually, to start, 1 tablespoon is enough for 2 cups of milk. You mix it into 2 cups of milk to ferment, but after that, you don't need to keep measuring. I usually just use whatever I have available there because it will actually ferment a bit faster if I have more kefir grains, which, as you know, aren't actually grains. If I have more of the colony there, with the same amount of milk, it will ferment. And after you give some away, the fermentation time will decrease because there are fewer cultures. But in any case, that's not a problem at all. The most important thing is that we can share it with someone close to us so we can always help more people. And one very important detail, do not bake your kefir. Do not put it in milk, in pudding, in mug cakes, because if you use it in recipes that go in the oven or on the stove, you will kill the cultures that are there, you will kill the probiotics, you'll still get the benefits of the milk, the proteins, the calcium, and everything else, but you will lose the probiotic effect. So ideally, you should always consume it in smoothies or cold preparations with a fruit, for example. Tell me down below if you have ever used kefir if you use it. How long do you let yours ferment? How do you like to prepare it at home? I really like kefir with banana and chia. I eat it like that almost every day. I'd love to know how you consume it. I'd love to see your comment. Give the video a like, as that really helps me, and share it with anyone who needs or would enjoy it. Let's work together to spread this chain of good, because that's what I want here on the channel. See you next time. Bye.